Well, I practiced on it earlier, though.
I'm sure you did. Language in this show may be too harsh for young listeners. In other words, we still struggling with our cussing.
You're listening to Psycho Music Lyricology Podcast. I am Sheldon Moss, along with the dude that is always secure about his opinion, Michael Nelson.
Cool Mick, the black kid, no sellout. I left something out.
And the professor, Maurice Moss.
What's up?
That was my tagline when I was trying to be a rapper.
Oh, is that
Cool
what
Mick, the black kid, the jazz, no sellout. Something.
Yeah.
It was whack. That's why I stopped rapping.
Well, you know, it's been such a long time, man. I got to get back in the rhythm of things, cause it's been such busy. That's all I can say.
Oh, you know what? I cut your wisdom. You didn't introduce everybody.
Yeah, I did.
Did you introduce Moss?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you? Yeah.
You missed out.
I ain't listening then. My bad.
You just having your whole conversation.
Yeah, I've been missing it so much. I'm just running my mouth. Don't know what the hell is going on.
Well, you know, since it's been so long, we need you all to go right now and subscribe to Psycho Music Lyricology on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcast. And you can hit us up on Facebook and Instagram at Psycho Music Lyricology and Twitter on at Psycho Fellas. But man, it's been so much going on that we are long overdue to talk about. You know, a bunch of things to watch, which I haven't had the opportunity to watch them yet either. You know, we kind of talked about that. But other than that, though, Maurice, what you been up to, man?
Nothing. This mic is really coming in. Music wise, I've been listening to a lot of old stuff, and I figured out one of the reasons why I was listening to a lot of older music is because when I get on the treadmill, I don't like to change the music up that often, and the older songs were much longer. So I've been listening to a lot of Nile Rodgers and a lot of the old disco stuff. But I did stop to listen to parts of the Drake album and parts of the Kanye West album. And I liked a lot of what was going on musically with the Kanye album. And I liked a lot of the lyrical stuff on the Drake album. So, but neither one of them is like really like resonating or killing me right now. But I mean, they're so long with all these damn songs. I think I'm like maybe the third of the way through one, maybe like 6 or 7 songs in on each of them.
What's about 20%?
It's a lot of them.
I know the Kanye one is 27 songs. I think I got 7 in on that one, and I haven't even listened to Drake.
I have stamina for these albums, man.
You know, and
it's like,
and for me, I have to wait till the hype dies down.
Yes.
You know, it takes. I need for people to stop talking about it for a little while so I can listen to it with. Because I mean, you know, with the, you know, back in the day, somebody would tell you about a record, you go get the record and you listen to it, and until you hit the bookstore and pull Rolling Stone or whatever, we aging ourselves, right? Right. You know, we didn't hear any. You know,
there wasn't a whole lot of conversation, ongoing conversation about this cut, that cut, this cut.
So now you can't pop on any of your social media feeds without somebody having something to say about one or the other.
They've made a challenge out of several of the songs. I mean, it's already stuff going on with them where you can't really have this objective view.
It takes me too long to process all of that. So I just wait until the hype dies down and then I'll listen to it.
That's smart.
So I haven't touched Drake yet, but I listened to about 7 songs. I really had to listen to I listened to about 4 or 5 of the first songs, I guess, on the Kanye album. And then I had to go listen to the song with Three Stacks. I had to go hear that one because one is Andre,
right.
And then everybody was talking about how he murdered the track, and I gotta say I was sucked in, because 3000 is the truth. He really is.
It's
the
so
truth.
funny that he says that the reason why he does well, at least I've read that he said the reason why he doesn't rap anymore or as much is because it's hard to stay relevant the older you get. And based on just everything that he's put out, even sporadically, since he kind of, dialed it back, it's all been like top shelf A plus level, like rhyming and relevant and everything.
He is he is one of those artists in the vein of like Miles Davis, where something has to feed his creativity. In my opinion, that's kind of where he, and I've heard him say similar. And I think I heard him tell Rick Rubin that he just didn't feel it.
Yeah.
and he hasn't been feeling it for a while.
Yeah.
And he's and so he's awkward when he tries to get to a place where he's rhyming or whatever. And so I imagine that, there's probably some level of fear and something about fear and genius, kind of battling each other.
Similar to what was probably going on, or what I think was going on with D'Angelo.
Could be. I would agree with that
Because
because when D comes back, it's always kind of like, damn, you on some.
But I've read that he said that he was, really kind of anxious about the people that were coming out while he was out, and he was comparing himself, and he had anxiety about it.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Another album before I forget that I had listened to, and I think one of you guys mentioned it, but I listened to the whole album multiple times, and it was really good. And that was Yola.
Mike,
was that one that you?
It.
It's a black young lady.
Oh yeah.
That album is good.
It is.
It's a.
It is absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's very good,
and it's a different album. Like,
and
the sound coming out of it is really good.
Yeah, we haven't been here in a while because that was a month ago or so, right? Yeah.
But that was a good album.
I consumed it probably a couple of times, and then I went on to the next one, and it just
it was good. It was good. I like that.
Yeah, I hate streaming and people, and I feel so
streaming and people.
I just feel so lost because, on one hand, I love the fact that there's so much out there that you can consume. And then the other hand is it comes too fast.
It's what you keep saying. There's no...
You don't have a time to process
exactly.
What's new, and then next thing you know, here you got something Tuesday and Friday.
It can't sit with you. You can't sit with anything.
Suppose you going to the record store.
Because New Music Tuesday, that Tuesday only came once a week.
Right, exactly.
So, you go into the record store on Tuesday, you could grab 3 records, 3 CDs, you can grab them. You listen one on Wednesday, one on Thursday, one on Friday, go back to one a couple of more times, and then you ain't have to worry about nothing else till Tuesday.
And one example of the opposite of that is since we've been out, I think Lucky Day has put out an EP, or that was when the last time we talked, and he's put out 2 or 3 singles since then, just randomly. Like, I'm putting out a song tomorrow. I mean, and it's just kind of like, okay. And I know this is us, get off my yard, kind of get off, it's old people stuff, but I mean, it's really
just,
takes a lot to
it's so hard to, just to stay up, it's almost like we got to get to this place where we go, all right, we only going to talk about this genre. You know what I mean? Because
And
know,
even so
you take care of that
at
genre.
this point of time.
Yeah, you take care of that genre. You take care, and I take care of this one, and then we'll just, we'll come together. It just, it's so, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would ever think you would be overwhelmed with new music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to like keep listening to different things, but you just don't have time. I mean, if you got to get up and go to work every day, you don't have time.
Yeah. And here's the other thing about the pandemic. As much stuff as I would consume driving from work.
Yep.
From home to work
Yep.
to home. Work to, church or wherever, you're on the road a lot more.
Yes.
Then you can pick up 2 or
Yes.
3 singles along the way.
Yeah.
But if you're just sitting in the house,
Yeah.
you got your family.
You have to be
stuff,
very
you gotta
intentional
have
to like
you
sit somewhere
got
and
the
listen
work,
to them.
you got,
Yeah.
all of this other stuff going on all at the same time, and it's hard to sit in one spot and just consume music.
Yep.
But I damn sure try.
Yeah.
I damn sure try. I try to consume as much as I possibly can, but it doesn't work. So,
Well, man, other than that, I just been, busy working on these little movie sets and trying to get acclimated to doing it on a regular basis.
that's cool, man. That's
know,
some good shit you're doing now.
Hey, you got like an IMDb page now, huh?
Yeah, so now I need to get some credentials behind my name.
You need to, yeah.
I need to get that piece of paperwork so we can up that page.
What paperwork do you have to get? Like a sound?
I need to get some
engineering
kind
or
of.
something?
I'm gonna take some continuing education class to get some certifications in.
Sound engineering, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool, man.
I'm looking for somewhere locally that I can do it at my convenience.
CVC does it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have one at what's the school out in Las Colinas, North Lake?
North Lake. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's in the daytime, but I'm gonna have to check back into it because things have kind of changed from when I was looking at it the first time since everybody's back in the school. So
You can probably still find some stuff online.
Yeah, and then they have this other thing. I want to get this Pro Tools thing down too.
Yeah.
I want to try to work on that because I kind of fool with it, but as far as the editing part of it, I don't know, how to do that.
Good skill set from what it looks like.
I'm gonna try to look into that. So, but as y'all can see, I'm very excited about this new piece of equipment.
So that asshole who stole the first one, you ain't stopped shit.
Because he's listening to the podcast.
I hope he is, punk motherfucker.
Yeah, so
You ain't stopped shit.
So I physically went to the store and picked it up.
So you're not shipping this to my
No.
door.
No, I'm done with that. But hey, man, since we just kind of just talking a little bit, Mike Maurice, I've been trying to understand why. Here it is. Who is it? Anita Baker finally got the rights back to her music.
She got her masters.
Got her masters back. And who was the other one you had?
De La. De La got theirs back. Yeah.
So, after what made me think about this is, okay, there's a young lady I've been working on the movie with. And so she was making a deal with the movie company. So with her making the deal, she actually read the paperwork. And it said that we would own your rights to the movie. Mm-hmm. And we'll give you X amount of dollars. She's like, oh, no, that's okay.
Right.
But the point is, she read the contract.
Read the contract.
Did you ever read the contract?
Read the contract.
So it makes me wonder, all these people that are starting to get their rights to their music back now, did they read the contract in the beginning?
So this is the age old conversation about what you're willing to do to be where you want to be. I was listening to Irv Gotti the other day talk about he was talking about Cash Money, Baby and Slim. And he was talking about how much cake they had. He was like, they got real money because their deals with the record companies were 90-10 in their favor. You know, which if you want to do the work now, so Cash Money came about the same time as social media became a thing, right? Or, you know, it just kind of, you know, they're growing at the same time. And then they had the outline of how to do this from Master P. Because Master P's deal with Jive was 85-15. And I remember him talking about that. I remember he said he went into Jive and they said, you know, he said, okay, we're going to give you this much money for that. And Master P was like, nah, I don't want shit from you. He said, I'm gonna take 85, you take 15. I'll bet on myself, and I'll put up what I made so far to go to the next level. And at that point, nobody else was gonna get a deal like that because Master P went got paid, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, so it's weird to me. What are you willing to do to become a star, right? Mm-hmm. You know, what are you willing to do to get your music out there? And to me, it makes more sense that if you think your shit is good and you think people will like it, then you, even if you dealt with the majors, you know, I understand what happened to Anita. That was the 80s. De La, that was the early part of the 90s. Everybody was getting jerked. Mm-hmm. You know, most people are getting jerked in that, you know, in that. But today, it's like, you know, what are you thinking about? Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, I understand you want some money, but I'm not about to give you my work product. You know, I'm not about to give you everything that I'm about and just let you have it. I always think about this in terms of Ray Charles, because you know he was one of the first artists to
be upfront about it.
Yeah, if I sign with you, I need to own my shit. Mm-hmm. And I just find, you know, there needs to be a better partnership. You know what I'm saying?
The thing you said about today, that's what I really think about now when if people are still getting ganked on deals. In the age of the internet, even if you don't want to read, get your cousin or get your mama or get somebody who will sit down, who loves you enough to read a 20 or 30 page contract and talk to you about it if you don't want to do it. I mean, at the very least.
And it's enough jackleg lawyers on the planet that'll read that shit for you for $250.
Right. And will tell you what the deal is.
This is what they're telling you. This is the money you would get. This is the money that they're gonna get. Just like when everybody started getting jerked with them 360 deals. Mm-hmm. You know,
my whole thing is I don't know if saying if the 80s or the 90s or De La, I don't know if that's letting them off a little too easy. Because even during that time, like you can take like Ryan Leslie. He owned his stuff from the very beginning and never really like had this mega star type of career, but is living very comfortably because what he did make was his.
Yeah.
I mean, it was from the onset, he controlled his whole product. And it wasn't like, it was the 90s. It wasn't like, okay, this is the the prime time for the internet and all this kind of stuff. You know, you just got to read the contract.
Yeah, and then but the other part of that is, and here's where I give a little bit of grace. You take some ghetto kids, and I'm not saying that they're not smart. I'm not saying that they're, unbusiness savvy.
Hey, you're right about, because I know where you're going with that. And to your point, Ryan Leslie was not. He was an Ivy League.
Yeah.
He was getting ready to go to an Ivy League college, so he had a different upbringing altogether.
And his mind was somewhere else. Versus, all I want to do is make some music. Oh, you getting ready to give me some money for this? Oh, okay, cool. and you gonna pay for my studio time? Oh, okay, cool. And then, next thing you know, you writing songs about getting jerked by the record company.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you know better, you do better, and you hope that we gotta. You gotta hope that with the way business is rolling, unfortunately, everybody looks at Instagram and thinks everybody who is an artist is rich. Mm-hmm. So they just put up with any and everything if they get a shot at the record at the record label or at a record deal. And then they miss the point. Yeah, they miss the piece of the record the contract that says I own this, and I'll pay you whatever it is, what pittance I think you deserve.
And it's also what you said earlier. I mean, and really, it's what everybody deals with, but you're not looking at $1 million contract in the midst of dealing with it, but it's valuing yourself and learning how to value yourself, because when you truly value yourself, you just don't go for the okie doke.
Right.
You just will not do it. But for a lot of us, it takes time to get to that point. And just because you're an artist with a skill set, with that level of creativity, doesn't mean that you have the maturity about your self-worth yet.
And then you got to also define success for yourself.
That's
Is your music is the point of you becoming an artist so that you can put your art out there and live off of that, or is it that you want to be a pop star?
Right.
And I think those are two very different things.
Absolutely. Those are two very different things.
And so
you could put out independent albums and live and keep your family eating and living well for a long time.
Because I think of people like Eric Roberson.
Yeah.
Fonte,
that whole crew.
Exactly.
Frank McComb.
There is another cautionary tale, because that's who I was just thinking about. Lil Brother is going through that at this moment with two of their records,
and they were dealing with an indie. So you can't say that just because you sound and De La Soul were dealing with an indie too, because so it's not about a major label thing. It's just about
it was a matter of who that indie was attached to,
or the contract,
or if they just if they just have a level of integrity.
Well, that's
they not Red from Apple Records, Big Red Records.
Okay, I was like, what is he talking about?
Apple Records, Big Red Records.
My office hours.
Because that's basically what is happening with Lil Brother, is that they haven't seen royalty statements. Like, you constantly put my shit out, but we ain't seen no money, no royalty statements. We ain't seen nothing from
his
that.
video on I think I saw it on Instagram was interesting. He was like, I've seen this man out and about at festivals and stuff, and had conversations with him, and been like, the owner of the label saying like, hey man, can we have a conversation? Can we talk about this? Can we deal like men with one another? And it's just like, okay,
yeah, I'm gonna make it right, and then you disappear.
Exactly.
It's just like, it's like you gonna turn me into the old me. He's gonna make me become something I don't really want to be, and hang your ass out the window because you wanna play with my money.
Hey, Suge had a point. Suge was Suge for a reason.
Yeah, don't mess with my money.
Well, I say there is, I'm going to end this with this. It's a young man that we all know. And I was talking to his mother, and she said if he wanted to live a regular life right now, he could live off of that for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. But he's made in this short period of time because he owns everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know who you're talking about. And he was it looks like he was very methodical with his career. Mm-hmm. And he took care of business all along the way.
Right.
So when he did get that exposure to these other rappers like Killer Mike and all that kind of stuff, those things happen, and that's that's some gateway money. I mean, you get access to a lot of stuff. So
exactly
movies, all that kind of stuff.
man. Because the machine is just to get your name out there more,
exactly,
and get you these connections,
right?
And so now the point is that now you don't necessarily need access. I mean, the truth of the matter is they're still trying to control it. Like, the majors are still trying to control everything. And in fact, they're trying to control streaming as well now.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to go through their platforms at some level to try to get out there. But, do the work. If if it's worth it to you, then just
and really
battle through it.
Pay attention to yourself and understand your feelings about your own self-worth.
So yeah, and you may have to get to these places where you break up the day. Like when I get up in the morning from 8 to 10, it's just all business. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I'm learning to do this. This is important, From 8 to 10, all I'm doing is working on my social media stuff,
understanding
trying
contracts,
to find
understanding equity versus payments,
having conversations with agents
Yeah.
and promoters and that kind of thing. Just had from 8 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's what I do. And then, you dedicate your rest of that time to other things, to your music.
But now you're telling artists to fall into these.
But
and artists are like,
but they have to, right? They have to.
I feel what I feel right now.
But they have to, or they have to create a machine that does it for them.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Prince was a master marketer.
Absolutely.
And
a very, very good opportunist with technology.
And we clown Kanye, but Kanye is a master marketer.
He absolutely is. He absolutely is.
Yes, it is, man. It's funny. I was not listening. I finished reading the Morris Day book.
I still haven't gotten to it.
I read that entire book while I was on vacation.
Okay.
In 2 days.
Okay.
I was done. And I learned so much about Morris Day and Prince that I never knew. Mm-hmm. And to your point about Prince was being a marketer, but he was cutthroat businessman when it came to Morris Day and the time.
Well, Prince was like crime.
I mean, yes. I was just like, but he just kept being his friend. I mean, after all that had gone on, but I didn't know some things about Morris as far as his drug use and things of that nature. But I will say this about Morris, him and Prince, they did have a brotherly connection and they made a lot of records together.
Oh, yeah.
And how great of a drummer
he really
is.
We don't know what's in that vault.
Right.
I mean,
because he talked about some records they cut, man, that never saw the light of day.
Man,
it'll be a couple of lifetimes before all of the vault sees the light of day.
I mean, it's got to be curated, right? I hope that that's the only thing that I hate about him not really having a plan about that stuff that's in his vault. Because somebody's gonna go in there and just start releasing bullshit, and it's just not going. It's gonna ruin his legacy.
And did you see? Because you reminded me. Did you see? What's his name? I'm gonna leave the door open. Anderson .Paak.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson .Paak on Instagram or one of the social media platforms made an official statement and said, "When I die, do not release any of my unreleased music." Because that was not meant for your consumption. Wow. And he said that on, like, officially said it. He wasn't playing. He was like, this is what I'm saying to you.
Hopefully he owns the rights to everything.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does.
That's that's.
Well, he's like, if I have a vault, it needs to stay a vault. Mm-hmm. It needs to stay tucked away.
That's wow.
And so I mean, And I kind of have a feeling about that with Prince too, because you know, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I actually kind of been listening to the new album.
I mean, I haven't really.
I got to like the first 5 songs or so, but I mean, I'm kind of enjoying it. You know, it's him. It was mixed. You know, whoever he had, his engineers or whatever did it, so it doesn't sound like somebody just went in and made some changes to the music and things of that nature. You know, and plus he's talking about what's happening now, and you know, I kind of enjoyed it so far. What about you, Mike?
I'm not there yet.
You know,
I'm not there yet. Like I said, my issue more is I'm concerned with who's curating that stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I know this is an album that was already put together, but it was held back for a reason. And so I'm still kind of not. I hit the button and then I turned it off. So I wasn't. I don't know. Just it's a weird conversation for me to have, that I have like this relationship to Prince and I never met him. You know, it's just kind of it's a relationship with his music that that I have, and it's just like I don't want nobody to mess up his legacy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't want anybody to mess up the Prince I know, and that's why I'm just like, I would rather him say, It's like that song when Mike passed away, and they put out that song where Timberlake helped him do. Oh yeah, yeah. You just kind of go, come on, man.
That was not Mike. Would not have put that.
I was like, come on, dude, don't. Leave Mike alone.
Mike would not have put that out.
Just don't do that. It's not necessary. We got enough of Mike to know who Mike is without you putting out
your version,
half wit shit that he hadn't finished.
It was a money grab. Yeah. It totally sounded like a money grab.
So, but that's just it. So yeah, old boy.
Yeah, he gone.
Y'all transitioning like a mug. Huh?
Old boy in Chicago. It just came into my head.
Okay.
Old boy in Chicago.
He gone. Yeah. We gonna leave that one alone then, man.
The only thing I got to say about that is this. I do have this to say. I think a lot of them people who were around him need to go to jail too.
Absolutely.
Right. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I do, because they enabled that shit, and they knew it was happening, and they were all part of it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I think they need to go too.
Whenever stuff like this happens, I always have an internal conversation about people's actions versus their art, because if you dig deep enough into a lot of these people's lies, I think you would find some unsavory things. Not on the level of the R. Kelly stuff. That's a whole nother level of.
We all got some dirt. We all got some shit we gonna hide.
But dealing with the kids and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of like beyond the pale. But I looked in my what do you call them? Your streaming services. I looked at my Spotify and my
your title
and my title to verify that I wasn't following him, because I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to like have him be in the algorithms and come up in my stuff. And then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, but these were good songs.
I'm having that issue too. So I wrote this the other day. I wrote that there are only 2 to 3 songs by R. Kelly that I listen to on a regular basis that I thought were genius. He wasn't the genius to me that he is to most people. All right. A lot of this stuff was trite to me. But here was my very next sentence. I can't imagine myself not listening to Kinda Blue ever again. And Cicely Tyson talks about what Miles Davis did. he beat her.
Yeah.
Betty Davis as well, and
Yeah,
his other
yeah.
wives.
Yeah. And so I remember vividly, maybe
Great example.
92, 93. I have a friend who's a doctor. She said, I read Cicely Tyson's book. I went home and threw away everything I had by Miles Davis. And I was like, why? And she told me, she said, well, because I don't want to support an abuser. And I was like, and I remember then thinking to myself, well, I said, well, I remember, this is what I said. I said, I don't understand that. And she said, you're not a woman. And
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
She literally said that to me. You are not a woman, and that's why you don't understand.
There's a perspective, yes.
And I was like, that don't make no sense to me. But as I have gotten older and I have put myself in a place where I want to empathize.
Yeah.
And, and be a better person for whatever that means. You start looking at things like that. You start thinking,
it's not black and white, man. It's very gray.
It's the art versus the artist. And now you got to go, do I stop watching The Cosby Show?
Yeah.
Because there's still quite a few people that defend Bill Cosby, like vehemently defend him, and I'm just kind of like,
it's funny you brought that up too.
Go ahead.
I got somebody.
Okay, go ahead.
Trish Bell, who this person is, because he actually posted this on his own Instagram page. Bill did. Lil Boosie, I have always appreciated your truth and support. What I'm about to say is not to compensate not to compensate and you because you supported Bill Cosby. My publicist, Mr. Andrew Wyatt, told me about your film, my struggle, and I am encouraging all of my supporters and fans to make the American Citizen Lil Boosie film, My Struggle, a box office success.
Who wrote that on this page?
His publicist.
Who? Bill
Cosby publicist. Mm-hmm.
Just as an aside, I'm going to say something about Lil Boosie. He.
Well, this is him. This is in his words.
Yeah, but Lil Boosie went on his social media and called black people who are not buying his movie an Uncle Tom.
Are you serious?
MLK died, blah blah blah, and all you Negroes who won't buy my movie are Uncle Tom's. His lyrics talk about drug dealing, degradation of women, and the decline in the black community. That's what he talks about in his records. But I'm an Uncle Tom because I don't want to listen to his music. And then you got the nerve to invoke MLK in that bullshit you just said.
It's problematic.
Very, very. But that's the aside. You brought that up, so I'm just gonna leave. We gonna stop. We not gonna talk about that clown. But we can talk about what Bill Cosby said there. Yeah,
and I'm sitting here like, wow, Lil Boosie, my publicist told me about you, and I'm like, did he really tell you? Like, to your point, did he really tell you about it? Even though he was in support of him for a long time,
but Bill had also something to say about Old Boy in Chicago too.
Oh, really?
He did. I saw that a while back. I can't remember what he said.
Remember what he said now, but it was just recent. Yeah,
it was kind of like in support, but not support. You know what I'm saying?
But see, I don't know why people were completely surprised about Bill, because Bill was problematic for me when he was doing this whole representational politics type of thing and telling people to pull their pants up and all this kind of stuff. I'm just kind of like, yeah, really, Dr. Huxtable? That's you drinking the Kool-Aid a little too much for me. That was one of those conversations to me that you don't have publicly. That's auntie uncle shit. That's the kind of shit that you pull a couple of cats into a room pull me
and
to
say,
the side and say, hey,
let's talk.
Not, yeah.
But he proved his issues back when he Eddie Murphy.
Yep. Yep, you went back. Yes, yes.
And so that was the funny thing, and that popped into my head because on Twitter, when he said whatever he said about R. Kelly, somebody put, and to quote the great Eddie Murphy. Tell Bill Cosby to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was
because he was being the morality police back in the day, but now
and he got his own.
You
got your own issues, partner, and it just I think I was listening to Sway in the Morning, and a lady who is from Chicago got on the radio, was talking about this was right after the verdict the next day. Mm-hmm. And she was saying, which is not the first person from Chicago I heard say this, that his adoration for little girls was the worst kept secret in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. That's gross.
And he said, and the thing that bothered me, she said, the thing that was like the sickest thing is he would post up at this McDonald's that was across from some high school.
Right.
And she said, the thing that was the sickest, she said, the sickest thing to me was seeing these mothers take their daughters. Yes. And she said, here's the thing. They daughter, and so Heather B was talking about, she said, my mother and father were 16 and 17 years older than me.
Right.
She said, so the thing is that these 30-year-old mothers who like R. Kelly and his music were taking their 15-year-old daughters to meet somebody. They partying and they have the same, their social circle with regard to music is the same.
Right.
They listening to the same music.
Yeah. Right.
And then, it's just like and it dawned on me, I remember years ago, maybe I was about 20, I had to be grown. I had to be 21, 22 years old. One of my cousins was here from California. And it was at the same time my mama was having a card party with some of her friends. So I told me and my cousin were hanging out. I said, you know what? We can go with my mom's because my mom got some food because she got some friends over to the house. They having a card party. We walked into the house. My mom said, get y'all some food and leave. And I was like, leave? What? She like, I don't party with my kids. Y'all got to go. And I was just like, we just want to eat and blah, blah. She was like, get you some food. And get to, she didn't say get the hell out. She was like, you ain't got to go home.
But you got to get up out of here.
You can't party with my and then I think that was the lesson I learned at that point. That there needs to be clear distinction. You can have fun with your kids, but they need to know that there's a clear distinction. And that right there to me was the sickest shit I'd ever heard in my life was these women taking they done already had kids at 15. So they think it's cool for their 15-year-old daughter to be in the face of this grown-ass man.
Mm-hmm. And so I wonder about the Aaliyah situation. And Aaliyah had a mother and a father. And how was that allowed to? And I'm not trying to accuse anybody of anything, but I just want okay, I don't have kids, but a 15-year-old.
You're not hanging out with no grown-ass man by yourself. My daughter decides she going to be a singer or whatever. You can rest assured that mommy or daddy or both going to be
posted
with
up
her
in the studio
all the time.
It's funny you say that. I watched the Unsung on Shanice Wilson, and she was so young when she came out. Mm-hmm. But there was someone with her that was in her room with her the entire time up until she was 18.
My daughter is not going to be around any grown men without me being me or her mother or both. That's just not. I don't want to judge the man. I don't want to judge that family. And I'm trying my best not to judge them, but I can't fathom a moment in time where that was okay. And then supposedly they got married in Brazil. How in the hell you get to Brazil without me? You know what I'm saying? You will have had to drug me. But when I found out what had happened, it's like what Jay-Z says, she do anything necessary for me, but I'll do anything necessary for her. Mm-hmm. So don't let the necessary occur. We wouldn't know R. Kelly if he married my daughter. I'd gladly go to prison for some shit like that.
But the thing about it is, you probably wouldn't even got to the point where he was able to do anything, because it's just like levels, and it's like, okay. And once he realized you're gonna be in the room at all times, he probably be like, oh, okay, she's not that talented anyway, So it's just like, you never get, the people that got to that point where you knew it was going to be, he knew he had the green light.
That's just some sick shit to me.
It really is yeah.
It's just, at my age now, I'm married. But if I was not married, you can't be 20, 30 years younger than me, and I'm approaching you. You know what I mean? And 20, 30 years is still grown at my age. I'm 50. So you 20 years younger than me, you 30. That's still too young.
Right.
It's a different mindset altogether.
Like that meme say, I need a woman who know the signs for stroke at this point. I don't need nobody looking at I don't need nobody looking to party shit. I need for her to say, dude, are you okay? Shit, not do you want to go to the party? But that's just, I guess it is a, it is a proclivity or a sickness that somebody has, and it needs to be addressed. But if you don't know you sick, the people around you obviously knew you sick. You know what I mean? And
it's a child,
and they should have.
It's literally, it's children. So yeah,
they should have been. Yeah, they should have addressed that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I want to transition some more, but what's next?
Yeah, we're gonna. I just want to say, Mike, I actually checked out something you sent. The Raphael Sadiq interview.
Yeah. Wait. Have you listened to that?
I haven't listened yet.
Well, you need to check it out, man.
I know I need to listen to it.
I didn't. There's some things on there that I absolutely did not know.
Exactly.
I didn't know. I didn't know a couple of like major key point things.
You can talk about it because I'm still.
No, we're gonna talk about it, but I'm waiting on him to say whatever it is he wanted to say.
First. Yeah, I didn't realize all of these people that he had worked with coming up. Mm-hmm. Man, I didn't even know he was a trombone player. Played the first chair. What was the deal like when he's talking about his brother, Dwayne, and how Dwayne thought they were just owned, and he was like, I don't know if we own yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It speaks to a whole lot of things about their music, right?
Uh-huh.
So in the interview he was talking about how, once they kind of started, Tony kind of started making it. He was never comfortable. He was always like, I don't want to be the lead. We can't be here forever. He said, I go to the record store and I'm going through these albums of all of these groups I never heard of. Yes, he said, I didn't want to be one of those people. Mm-hmm. And so he talked about his work ethic after, after Tony started gaining some notoriety. Versus Dwayne was like, we own, we the shit now. And so he made the analogy of when he was a football, like he would be a football player, and while you playing football, you stay in shape, and then when you don't play football no more, you out of shape.
He quit exercising.
He said that's what Dwayne did. He just quit exercising. And then when you think about Dwayne's solo album, that shit was awful.
He quit exercising.
It was terrible.
He quit exercising at that point. It was
really, really bad.
And, that was too close to Sons of Soul for it to be that bad. You know
No,
what I mean?
you're right. You're right.
It was that album, and it was way too close to Sons of Soul for it to be that bad.
And he seemed, I mean, and it seemed like he had so much potential for that to be so much better than it was.
But he just, he didn't.
Because he could have been like, to me, he came across as, remember Martin Luther, the neo soul guy?
Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe I got from him, like a California guitar player, soul.
Like he was gonna have something, and then being from Oakland, just that whole vibe out from Oakland, you would have thought something different came. But he, and then so you take you take Dwayne and juxtapose him to his solo work and juxtapose it to Sadiq's,
who has some really, really good albums.
Did you also hear him say that he was a lazy songwriter?
He said that.
Did you hear?
He said
Did you see my face?
He said that. Say, I said that. When he said that, I said that's Mike.
That's what I keep saying. I've been saying it forever. I do not like his lyrics. He said, and so he was talking about the song. I can't remember the name of the song.
And it was just a one-liner that
And
he put in
said,
there.
and so he just so casually said, I did that because, sometimes I'm a lazy songwriter. And blah, blah, blah. I just burst out laughing. I said, that's what I've been saying from day one. But the dude, here's the thing I didn't know. All right, so we know that he played, he toured with Sheila E., right? Mm-hmm. He was in the Under the Cherry Moon band. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be the bass player for Madhouse.
Right.
When Prince, I didn't know that. I was like, I stopped. I almost ran the car off the road.
Yeah.
It was him, the dude that was their drummer, and somebody else. Mm-hmm. The other Tony.
Yeah.
He was the drummer. He was the other Tony was the drummer. Mm-hmm. They were all gonna do Madhouse, and he played. He said they that was the Under the Cherry Moon tour. And in Japan, they broke up. He said that's when they broke up the Revolution.
Yep.
And he said that whenever they did the after parties, Sheila E.'s band would play the after parties.
And he was part of that band.
And he was in that band. Mm-hmm. And that's how Madhouse came about. Mm-hmm. And I thought, whoa, I did not know that at all.
And he brought up the subject of neo soul.
Yeah.
Like, no.
He
doesn't like that term.
I'm sure he doesn't, because that limits his music in a way that it should not be limited.
What did he say? Gospel psychedelic.
Gospel-delic. You remember?
Gospel-delic. That was on that album, Ray Ray.
Yeah. But here's an interesting thing that he said to me that I thought would be a good exercise. He said that the Revolution was Prince's best band. And I don't know that I agree with that.
I think MPG is tight, though.
See, my favorite band.
But you're thinking about different phases, too.
I understand
which
that.
iteration of the Revolution.
But, so it would have been the iteration after Purple Rain, between Purple Rain and Under the Cherry Moon. So it would have been
Wendy
Lisa,
Brown
Mark,
Fink,
and David Z. Okay. So it would have been that group.
Okay.
And so he said that was the best Prince band. Mm-hmm. And I like, and maybe it's because Sign of the Times is my 1A, 1B. It's my 1B album. Mm-hmm. But I think that band was
a tight band.
I think that was the best Prince band.
It was definitely one of the most entertaining bands.
Yeah, I mean Sheila, right. Miko.
I mean, just to visually watch them.
Yeah,
it was an entertaining band.
Yeah, I think and I guess because I'm obsessed with the concert video and all of that. I just always thought that was the better band. I thought, but there's
some good Purple Rain footage of that iteration of the Wendy and Lisa iteration of the band. You can see they were good too.
I mean, and then there are times when I feel like I could move the pieces around,
just interchange. Different,
like I can pull Sheila off drums and put what's his name, Michael B.
Bring Levi in instead of Brown.
Yeah, and then move Miko in there somewhere, and then maybe Lisa comes in there somewhere, and then you got Rosie, and it's just so many. And another thing about that whole conversation that not even Quest said anything about that I thought was pretty interesting, and I would wonder how to backtrack this. After he broke up the revolution, I mean, not after he broke up the revolution, but most of those cats came from the Bay Area, right? Mm-hmm. So Eddie M was from Bay Area, Sheila E was from Bay Area, Rosie Gaines was from the Bay Area. Here was my theory. Larry Graham was from the Bay Area,
right?
And Sly, that's where they all came from, that area, right? So there are stories about Prince being in Oakland at the Coliseums and stuff, listening to music.
Okay.
And so now I'm wondering if there was some kind of vibe there, and that might be the reason he liked Raphael Sadiq so much.
Because he had that Oakland.
Because that connection, that whole, it's something about that funk connection from that Bay Area up there.
Yeah. And it's funny, like they when he talked about that song, and everybody have a band, and you play bass. Pow. Okay, can you play Pow? Man, had you ever listened to that song?
Yeah, I listened to. In fact, he put that on his Instagram, and I listened to it, and I was like, I don't know why I know this song. And then when I read why what he was talking about.
After he said in the interview, because that's a hell of a song to play.
Then
what's the name of it?
Pow, P-O-W.
It's by
Grand Central Station.
Okay.
So I started thinking about when I was a kid playing in the city in Dallas. The song was Chameleon.
Right. Herbie Hancock.
Everybody had to. That was like the song that if you showed up like at you roll up in sock for a band competition or something,
and you want to sit in,
and everybody, somebody just start kicking up something. Chameleon was gonna come on at some point. Somebody was gonna start playing Chameleon,
right?
And you had to know the horn line, and you had the bass player. It was just that was our song.
Yes, you right about that.
That was a jam session song.
Yeah.
It was a Chameleon. It made me think of that when he was talking about that. I thought that was funny because that was that was your rite of passage back then. If you couldn't play the Chameleon, then you may as well sit your ass down. If you didn't know that.
Oh man! Yeah. And speaking of, another one that you sent to is Puffy versus JD. And
did you see Did you watch that?
And I listened to JD's interview.
Okay, let's stop.
Go ahead.
Tell me about the interview in just a second because I didn't. Did you see the Instagram? So
yes.
Snoop and Fat Joe called him, and I felt bad for JD, and I'm sorry. I'm just like I just felt like that's hip hop. That's what Why y'all talking shit? Hip hop is a contact sport, and Puff was not going to let you talk. He was just not going. He was just. It was just gonna be play the song after song, just play, and even Fat Joe and Snoop were like, say man, just play a song. Just play some music, and then I think after they hung up, they called Timbaland and Swiss Beats. And Timbaland was like, shit, I was feeling, he was like, I was feeling bad for JD, because he just didn't get involved in the war. And I just thought,
his catalog speaks for itself.
Yeah, but you got it.
He don't have to say anything. Just go look at my credentials.
But how does his catalog measure up against Puff?
You're talking about production. You're talking about a songwriter. And he in the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
To me, Puff has the advantage of He can come. He can bring you the Locks.
Or
he can bring you what's her name? Soon as I get home from work,
Faith.
He can bring you like hardcore R&B.
He can bring you
hardcore hip hop. He can bring you pop. He can just. And JD can do that too, but on a lesser level.
To me, the argument that most people were making was executive producer versus producer.
Right.
Songwriting Hall of Fame.
That's true. That's true.
That's a really good argument.
That is a good argument.
But
you ain't got to write rhymes when you write checks.
Who JD got can fuck with Biggie? Who JD got that can fuck with Mary J?
Check this out. In the interview,
nobody.
Hold on. In the interview, I want you to listen to JD's interview. In that interview, they went on a Chitlin circuit tour, and it was Biggie and I can't think of it. But Biggie came to him. He said, "I need a hit from you."
And
he's like, "I need this hit. I ain't getting it over here."
JD was a hit maker, no doubt about it.
And and I'm like, damn. He
doubt
said
about
because
it.
that
Biggie said
song,
he wasn't getting hits with Puffy.
He wasn't getting the hits, but what come to find out is, what's the song? I can't think of the name of the song, but it's a song. I think it was Juicy or whatever. That song was regional. It didn't hit down south.
Oh, it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hit down south.
No. This song, when you listen to this, when you look at it, I guess they looking at it as far as, I might have the song wrong, but whatever this song was, it didn't hit down south. It hit in the northeast.
So let me say this to you. This is where I'm going to. I don't give a shit what JD talking about at this point.
You need to listen to the interview.
I'll listen.
That's all I'm gonna say. Listen to the interview.
But that's what he's going to say.
It's facts on the Billboard charts.
Let me say this to you.
What you saying? I'm speaking facts.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why this bullshit.
It's your opinion.
No, it's not. It's not.
That's
my
your
opinion.
opinion.
Here's what I'm gonna give you, and this is where I'm gonna break off all of that shit. Biggie Smalls has his debut album is universally considered classic hip hop, top 20. Period. Listen,
I get what you're saying.
No,
Stop.
Stop. What I'm getting ready to say. Here is what I'm gonna say. That's universally. That's not an opinion from me. That's not me saying this is. You go across the board. That's what somebody's going to say.
What I'm saying is, at that time, we're not talking about now. At that time when it came out, that's what the man was saying.
Listen to what I'm getting ready to tell you. This has been said about this album for more than 15 years, that this is a classic hip hop album. Let me say one more thing. My Life, Mary J. Blige, is still considered one of the greatest hip hop R&B records of all time. Mm-hmm. Still today, was then. You want to say back in that time, was then. That's saying. Fine. You want to say all of that? That's fine. I get that. Name one person in JD's camp that can say any of that.
They can say what?
That they have classic albums.
Well, you got to look at it like this.
I'm not looking at it.
He's a single. He's not putting Usher.
Usher has a classic
album. Usher has a classic album.
That's true.
That's true. I'll give you that. But Usher's 10 million, his Diamond album, the biggest hit on that Diamond album was Lil Jon. Yeah. That's Lil Jon. That was a JD.
Okay.
That wasn't a JD song. That's the song. If anybody goes back to that Diamond selling album, that 10 million record selling album, the club banger, the one that everybody goes back to, is Lil Jon. I'm not saying that the other songs don't hit, but if somebody says, "Well, play the hit off of that album," they're going to yeah. That's what they're going to. I don't dispute anything JD has done.
He's definitely talented.
Yes, he belongs in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, so on and so forth. But he ain't got no classic albums. He got some good singles.
He never said he had classic albums. He said he works with a person per song.
Great.
But to me,
He never
that,
said
but,
he
but
was.
to me,
He
that
never
takes
said
you
that.
out of the running. Just that statement, because in order to be considered somebody who stands the test of time, you have to be able to produce a body of work as a producer. Produce that thing from the beginning to end and say, this is a whole complete album that I'm giving to the world, and I'm not just doing these one hit wonder type of things. That's a different kind of producer to me. That's why I was like, that whole argument with Puff and JD was a little apples and oranges to me, because of the executive producer compared to the producer, but also Puff had concepts. He had concept albums.
What's the 411?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind
My
of
Life. These are great. These are canons.
Yeah.
People chased. Mary J. Blige changed music with My Life.
People did chase that.
Well, I say this then. Okay, if you look at the reason why I feel like he didn't say anything, he had no reason to say anything, because he's not in that. He is this.
He still could have played a song. All he had to do was play music. That's
for us.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Okay, then he needs to sit his ass down somewhere.
Why did he answer the phone?
Wait a minute, yeah. One, he does care, because he kept saying, sign the paperwork. Let's get to Atlanta. Meet me in Atlanta. So no, he cares.
Okay.
He just should have been he just played himself. You don't.
Do you think it's gonna happen?
No, ain't no reason for it to happen.
I think it'll happen, because I think they're both it's media stuff. I don't think it's personal.
You never really know, in the sense that if that was being real or not, because in this world of social media and hyping up shit.
Yes.
So maybe it was real, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? But if we're talking about it at the root, Puffy might have an argument that nobody could get in the ring with him but Dre. He might really have that argument, just based on the fact that he found Biggie, based on the fact that he found Mary J. Blige, and the Uptown catalog alone is the classic era of hip hop. 92 to 96, Uptown you could run a radio station just on the Uptown shit.
Yep.
You can do programming.
Just the whole roster.
Yeah, you can do
just the whole roster of artists.
You could do programming for like a week just based on shit that's on Uptown.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you can do that with So Def. I mean, I ain't jumping no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. When that song come on, I'll be like, oh, I remember it, but I ain't supposed to get up.
Yeah.
Juicy come on. I still got a head. I still got something left for Juicy, but I ain't.
That might not have been the song. Like I say, don't quote me.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm not trying to quote you. I'm just saying that when you look on either side of the fence, there, I think that
Funkified would still hit.
It got a little bit of it. Got
Funkified
something.
would still hit.
It got something, but if you run Funkified up against anything, you couldn't even run Funkified up against anything by Lil' Kim.
Well,
Lil' Kim is hardcore.
I'm not, but it's not even about being hardcore. I'm just saying, Lil' Kim still got shit that lingers with regard to it. Still has some nostalgia that means something. Funkified is almost a
groove.
It was jamming, but Funkified, just like Jump, is almost like a novelty. They were novelty records.
I like Funkified. I think that beat is a really nice beat.
I do too.
Still, if it came on the radio, I would still be like, oh, okay.
But humming coming in the mix.
You stupid.
All right, man. We gonna move on. In the words of Puffy, take that. But what you got on? What you want to bring up, man? You had something you had to throw out there.
I don't know. I don't remember anything else. Tribe.
And LL Cool J? You talking about?
They're supposed, Q-Tip and LL are supposed to be putting a record together, an album.
I'm looking forward to that.
If that happens,
well, it looks like it's going to happen.
If that happens,
looks like it's happening.
I'm gonna lose my mind. So I'm looking forward to that. But the only thing, Low End Theory hit 30 years old a couple of days ago. That's some scary shit.
Wow.
Yeah, because we've been out of school.
Because I remember being a fully grown adult with that album.
30 years old.
Yeah.
30 years old. So that means, I guess we were living in Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've been out of school, 33? 34?
That, I think what we need to do is, this is what I'm proposing we do. We need to get, Moot and Cliff and do a live Facebook discussion about Low End Theory, song for song.
That'd be interesting.
Just have because
I would listen for that.
Because if we do it live, then we could play the music. If we do it live,
we could play the music online,
and so we can hit each.
That's a really good idea.
Well, I put it like this: we would have to get the cues together and bam, bam, bam. Put it together.
We'll do it live. I think we should do that.
That's a good idea. I like that idea.
And Moop and Cliff are the only two people that I would. I mean, there might be some other people, but yeah, Moop and Cliff are the two people I'd like to have that discussion.
That's a good group. Yeah.
Because that's my
So speaking of 30 years and everything, there's one thing that I have been watching that kind of, and I'm going to get back to this Q-Tip thing and Tribe, is they have Paramount Plus, they have brought back Behind the Music. And as a result of Behind the Music, they are showing the artists their original Behind the Music, and then they are asking them current questions. Mm-hmm. So they did one with Busta Rhymes.
Oh, okay.
So Busta, and they walked him, they went all the way back to the leaders of the new school, and he talked about all of that, and talked about how the breakout album or the breakout song for him was, what's the Tribe song?
Scenario.
Mm-hmm. Said that was the breakout. That was the thing that really clinched him, that took him out ahead of everybody else. And he was able to start doing solo stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good one to revisit. They also did one with LL Cool J too, where he talked about going back, getting back with Q-Tip in the studio.
You just sent me home to pull up Paramount Plus because I got to go see that. Busta is Busta. Busta is. Oh, that's what when you said that, that's what I thought about. Fat Joe went on his Instagram to say that no one could do a versus with Busta. He said there's just no one who would be able, he said, because, and then I got to thinking about, he just got an Icon Award or something from VMAs or something like that, didn't he? Or it was just something like that. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't think of anybody who could who would be okay getting in the ring with him.
The Slow Jams guy can't do it.
Who?
I can't call his name now.
You talking about Twister?
Yeah.
Nah. Catalog ain't deep enough.
Okay.
Just because he can rhyme fast? Yeah, nah. Catalog ain't deep
That's
enough.
the only person I could think of.
Because, up until maybe this last album, Busta putting out album after album.
I didn't realize until I watched that how many albums he had and how many hits he had.
And it's got to be, he always
got a deep
has
catalog.
2 or 3 singles off that are just club bangers.
He has a deep catalog.
I mean, and then there'll be songs that you wouldn't think don't this hit make my people want to jump? That, you just go, that shit ain't going,
And
like
Pastor Cavassier.
he's one of those artists where nobody else can do what he does.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's like for me, he's like, but his songs to the Buster, his singles are like what Thriller is to Michael Jackson. Like nobody else could have pulled off Thriller, right? That song, nobody else in the world could have pulled off Thriller, and it was a hit.
Yeah, it wouldn't be able to be a novelty of it.
Right,
yeah.
right. Nobody else could have done that. Nobody else could have pulled off what Kiss maybe, or Prince, right? Most R&B, most R&B, most even some hip hop. You might be able to interchange people in and say, oh, they could have done that song. Or they could have rhymed over that beat. I don't think nobody could have touched the shit Buster does, really. The touch it, get it, and then, the remix was cool, but, with all the other people rhyming on it, but you forget the remix if you just heard the single by itself. He's just one of them kind of artists. So I kind of agree with,
You also sent me a video from Fat Joe on Instagram where he talked about why he's not gung ho about a Big Punisher movie and stuff like that. Or maybe you sent me a video and then that was the video afterwards. But what was interesting about that was, how he brought Big Pun out and everything, and when he died, the family started talking about, oh, we're not getting all of the money.
And so he gave it away.
So he gave it all to them. And now people are asking, well, why don't you do a Big Pun movie? All of these different people artists are coming out with movies and stuff. He's like, why don't you do a Big Pun movie? And he's like, in order for me to do a Big Pun movie, his people got to come back and say, oh, you didn't do us like that. You didn't gank us. That was just talk. We know that you supported Big Pun and his family. And he was really kind of like, he was in his feelings about that because he, had done so much for that guy. I thought that was interesting.
And I think I think I remember a lot of that when it first kind of went down. Is he kind of took care of the family right after Big Pun died up until a point, and then he was like, there's no more. I've given.
And now people want him to get co-sign the son, and he's like, no, the son is acting like he hated me all these years. I'm not going to co-sign him.
Yeah, and he just said, you know what? Since you think that I did whatever, then here is all Big Pun shit. And they haven't been able to monetize
They can't do nothing with it.
They can't do anything with it. So he's just like, and I was like, I'm sure, he seems like a real stand-up guy to me.
He said, ask anybody else that he's dealt with, business-wise. Yeah. Anybody that he's dealt with in his career, and they will tell you. So I could see why it's just a matter of pride with him. He's like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him. He said, shit, you can have Big Pun. I created him. You can have it and do what you want to do with it. And they have not been able to.
Can't do nothing with it.
It's really a shame. But I was getting ready to say something else about another record.
That was also a good video you sent about Rakim, too. I thought that was interesting.
Oh,
that, Rakim allowed Eric B to, he signed papers allowing them to, they had a 3-contract deal. He signed papers taking himself out of the scenario contractually so that Eric B could make a solo album, because their original agreement was, I make a solo album, you make a solo album, then we come together on the last one and we fulfill our 3-album deal. But after Eric B did his album, Rakim said he had to look for him to sign the papers for him to do his solo album. And I was like, yo, that's messed up.
I can't.
That's messed up.
And then he told Rakim, I'm not gonna sign because you're not gonna bring me back.
Right.
And I thought, God, I don't even remember an Eric B solo album.
I
don't either.
And I was getting ready to go look for it, but then I thought it must have sucked because I ain't never heard anybody say anything.
Clearly, it
about
sucked because he didn't want it because he was nervous about not getting back on, not being able to make music again because he thought he was gonna get dropped.
And the other part of that is I always heard that Eric B was never a DJ. He was just a gangster. That he was really just a gangster. Mm-hmm. He was never actually a DJ. And he just they just brought them together to form this group, and then that's kind of where that came from. I like to know that whole. Rakim has a book too. I need to.
Yeah, I want to check that one out.
That's definitely one we need to read.
Yes,
let's check that out. Well, let's do this. We haven't talked in a while, so we need to. So the next thing we need to do is a book.
I'm down for that.
Definitely.
Tell
So Sheldon
me
always you always pick.
He said just tell him which one he gonna be on it.
Well, I'm reading another one now. I'm reading the Prince book, The Beautiful Ones.
No, let's not do that one.
I don't know. I'm not that one. I'm kind of
I'd rather hear Prince's words.
Yeah, because this is actually him.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that's writing, helping him write it, he's kind of going through this thing about how they met, you know, and going through the concept of what he wanted in the book and all that. And I'm kind of like, I'm not really like digging it right now. Right. So I got two of them, man. Let me go back and pull my other one out.
Okay, yeah, pick a book.
Yeah,
we'll
because we did a hip hop book last time.
What book did we do last time? Oh,
we did Gucci Mane.
We did Gucci Mane, and then we did Earth, Wind and Fire before.
Shout out to Samara.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. She need to come back.
Yeah, we chatted a couple weeks ago. One other thing before we get out of here, I have got to finish watching Bitchin'.
Is that Rick James?
Rick James.
I still haven't sat down and watched it.
I got to finish watching.
May do that this evening.
Yes, and watching it this so far, we have to talk about it.
So, all right, so
because I want to bring.
We can plan the next couple of shows, a book, and then Rick James.
Let's do Rick James next.
Okay.
Cause we and then
because it takes me too long to read books.
You can listen to
I
it.
got so much shit going on. I can't even sit down and listen to a record. I'm gonna listen to a book.
Well, and then they have this other one, man. It's another book that's out called. I think I may have queued it up in the books. One that I tell you what, one that we really need to go ahead and read, which we never did read. What are you doing?
The book about the Rock, the chick who metal black chick.
Yes, we really we really need to go ahead and read this one.
We didn't do the show for that one
Because I read like half of it, but I haven't completed it though. But it's a very interesting story and book. Yeah, so I think you may have a hard copy of it.
I do. Most.
I have a hard copy of it.
He gave you.
You gave me one, didn't you? Yeah. You must have given it to me.
Maybe that means I still don't have mine then.
Oh, yeah, then I got yours. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, man. So
well, I guess I got it because I don't see it.
You don't know where it's at.
Well, needless to say, man, I enjoyed this evening.
Psycho Babble.
Since it's been a minute since we hooked up.
Yeah.
But as always, we want to thank you for listening to Psycho Music Lyricology. Hit that subscribe button, rate, review, and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Buzzsprout, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Psycho Music Lyricology and on Twitter at Psycho Fellas. We can be contacted at psychomusiclyricology@gmail.com or 469-606-9534. Until the next time, peace.
2 fingers.
Peace.